you'll notice a nice unfolding as together we find a rhythm and scenarios that support what most of you have come to amplify or solidify in your own creative experience. You are magnificent creators, and life is supposed to be good for you, and you are supposed to manifest in real terms everything that you want. You are. That's what you signed on for. And you've been banging around in this physical experience, and you have come to many conclusions that are yours personally and that are wonderful, wonderful, wonderful things for you to want. It is our desire that you begin immediately to realize more of them, because there's just no excuse anymore not to. You know too much. You have the tools. You know about law of attraction. Law of attraction says you get what you think about. You know that you live in a vibrational universe, and you are understanding that you are emitting a vibration. And you know that your emotions let you know how you're doing with that. Your emotions are your indicator between the frequency of who you've really become with all of the desires that you've launched and who you're allowing yourself to be right here, right now. So what we're really talking about all day, every day, in terms of the effectiveness of your personal creation, in terms of the effectiveness of you getting what you want and fulfilling your purpose and living your dreams and living happily ever after in the way that you intend to. The ratio, the thing that we're talking about all the time, is the relationship between what you want and what you believe about it. What you want and what you believe about it. So if you want prosperity and you are so happy whenever you see someone who is living a prosperous life, then there's no discordance in your frequency. You're not introducing resistance. You are in perfect sync with your desire, and it's going to come right around the corner. But if you are seeking prosperity and you feel concerned about those who have already got it, if you feel envious about their success or angry at them for getting there first, or mad at yourself for not yet being there, those negative emotions are your indicator that there is a vibrational variance between your desire and your practice thought, and you just can't get there from there. You've got to change your frequency. You can't walk into a different room. You can't hang around with different people. It isn't about the action. You can't even get a different job. You can't even line up different ways for money to come to you. If you don't change the vibrational frequency, the doors are going to keep being locked. You're going to be walking down hallway after hallway after hallway, complaining longer and longer and louder as you go further and further into the depths of the belly of the whale that won't yield to you what you want. But when you figure it out, that you can change the frequency, not all at once, it takes a little practice. You can't just all of a sudden start believing something that you haven't been believing, because a belief is just a thought that you keep thinking. And the reason that a belief is a thought that you keep thinking is because law of attraction causes a momentum about the thought that you keep thinking. So you think the thought, and law of attraction brings you another thought like it, which then you notice. And now you're thinking about that too. So in order to really understand law of attraction, and in order to really understand your point of attraction, in order to understand your point of attraction and the way law of attraction is responding to you, you have to, or it's easier if you will, put the word momentum in there, because law of attraction is all about momentum. So if this was your first day here, you'd be smaller and lighter. Your energy would be flowing in a lighter, easier way. You would still be loving yourselves. You would not hold any conflicting beliefs. Wouldn't have a lot of desire going on yet either. Not much challenging, not much desire in those early days, and not much challenging it. But as you move through life causes you to launch more and more rockets of desire. When you know what you don't want, you know what you do want. So you're launching these rockets of desire, which are Literally. We are not kidding you about this at all. It's literal to us because we can sense them on every level. It's not literal to you yet because you can't see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it. But it is a vibrational reality. We've been calling it your vortex of attraction. And it is the sum of all that you've become. Part of it is who you were before you even came into this physical body. But you've been adding to it and adding to it and adding it to it. And there is a vibrational version of you that you can allow completely when you release your resistance. So, the best way to talk about momentum, if you've been listening to us for a while, have you been? Esther was shocked and amazed at the hills in San Francisco. She couldn't believe people actually lived on those hills. And she was even more surprised when she saw that they were driving on them. So imagine being at the top of one of those hills and you've decided that you're going to give yourself a real personal experience in momentum. So you take your car out of gear and you take the parking brake off and you just nudge it just a little bit just to see what will happen. And then right away you realize that you know what's going to happen and you change your mind about it. So you step right out in front of your car and you let it bump up against you. Doesn't even hurt. And it stops. And then you get back in and you set the parking brake and you say, yeah, that wasn't a very good idea. Because if you waited to try to stop the momentum of that vehicle, if you went to the bottom of the hill and tried to stop it, not a good idea. And yet that's what you sometimes do with beliefs that you hold. You try to stop a belief that's been barreling down the hill for a while, path of least resistance, and you say, oh, this belief doesn't serve me, I'm just going to think something different. And we say it is unlikely that you are just going to change your thought that rapidly. But it is helpful if you understand how it all works. And it's really helpful if you care about how you feel. Because if you care about how you feel, then you're going to begin to guide more of your thoughts in accordance with what feels good, which means you're going to begin to guide more of your thoughts in accordance with what has less resistance, which means you're going to be in a place where you're going to have more people walking around the corner with the key to more things that you want, because you are not vibrationally blocking it with beliefs that are not letting them in. You're following that, aren't you? So we're eager to talk with you about whatever it is you want to talk about. Don't worry about us. We will wedge our message in the crack. We just want you to understand that it's all about vibration and that it's much easier than you have been allowing it to be for yourself. And that from this point forward, within about 30 days of just paying attention to the way you feel, you can get a whole different vibrational set point going on, which means you're going to be different in this world to every relationship that you have with everything than you have ever been before. Because you're going to begin to offer different vibrational frequencies, which means your point of attraction is going to yield different things to you. There's just one thing that we want to say to you at the beginning of this. And this is a sort of, to help you to recognize that none of these words are really helpful to you at all unless something that you are living matches up with these words. So many of the things that you will hear from us today, you will feel resonance with them because the source within you knows them, and because your belief system is not in such opposition to them, you're allowing that knowing to flow through. When you feel true resonance with something, that means no resistance, and the whole of you is having this moment. But some things will challenge a little bit because you don't believe them yet. You don't believe in your prosperity as we know from seeing your vortex. You don't believe in your abundance of all things that you want in the way that we do. And so it's going to take some life experience that's going to help you to understand that. But here's how it works. When you think on purpose and then life experience delivers the results that you thought you would get from thinking on purpose, that is the best living that you can live. That's the best understanding that you can get, you see. Because words don't teach, it's only life experience. We're going to give you a piece of something that will help you so well, because if you are accepting that you live in a vibrational universe, do you? And if you are accepting that in this vibrational universe that law of attraction is the manager of that and that you are getting what you are thinking about, do you accept that? Then this is going to be very helpful to you. When you slumber, when you're asleep, your momentum stops. It subsides. Isn't that nice to know? Do you like knowing that? We like knowing that. We like you knowing that. We really, really want you to know that, because what that means is when you awaken in the morning, you are wobble free. When you awaken in the morning, you don't have vibrational discord. And by wobble, we mean when you think about what you're wanting and then you think about the absence of what you're wanting, you're offering two vibrational frequencies at the same time, which causes a wobble in your vibration. When you think about what you want, only about what you want, law of attraction is going to add momentum to that, and what you want is going to get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger until there's going to be a manifestation point. People who you see around you who are really thriving in incredible ways are those who don't have wobble in their vibration. They know what they want. They think about what they want. They don't doubt what they want. They believe what they want. So they're not introducing contradictory vibration. We've been calling that resistance through the years. Today we want to call it your wobble, because we want you to realize that you can do something about the wobble. When you say, I want that, I really want that, I've always wanted that, I really want that, I really want that, I've wanted that a long time, it starts to wobble. In fact, I really, really want this thing that I do not have. Wobble, 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 wobble. I want it, and you know, I'm not the only one who wants it. A lot of people want it. Can you feel the wobble getting bigger and bigger and bigger? It's just not right. So many of us who want this thing that we don't have, can you feel how big the wobble is getting? And so you can tell by the way you feel. When you have strong negative emotion about something, you've got a big time wobble going on. A wobble that is resistance, that is preventing you from the vibrational realization of what you want. Now what that means is, when we say vibrational realization, haven't you wondered? You have to have wondered. You just surely have to have wondered. If you've been listening to us for a while. Have you been listening to us for a while? We know. And as you've been listening to us for a while, and we've been talking to you about you create your own reality, you have to have wondered, all right, Abraham, I'll play your silly game. I'll do that process and that one and that one. I'll do a better job of lining up my vibration. I even accept the ridiculous thing you draw out here in the air that you call the vortex. I'll even accept that, maybe. But you have to have wondered, how do those ideas, how do those desires, how do those hopes and dreams, how do those vibrational realities, how do they get into your real life experience? How do you turn those thoughts to things? How do they become relationships and experiences? How do I get the money in the bank, Abraham? In the bank. I want to get it out of the vortex and into the bank, okay? How do I do that? And the way you do it is through the natural laws of the universe. The way you do it is by not keeping it out of the bank. That's the thing that we want you to understand. You just got to let the door open. You stop keeping it out of the bank. Now, how's that? Don't do that anymore. That's not what we're saying. We want to talk about what you are wanting to do. So the way that things move or become from an idea, from a vibrational reality into something that you are realizing, is that you have to tune your frequency to the realization of it. Now we know you didn't want to hear that, but we needed to tell you that. You are the realizers. That's the best word that Esther can find. That's how manifestations occur. You realize them. You realize them by finding a frequency. And at first when you find it, it feels weird to you. Maybe it feels a little exciting for a moment. In fact, that's a moment of recognizing the full potential of your desire. You feel exhilarated about it for a moment. But if you don't shoot it in the foot, if you don't wrestle it to the ground and kill it with reality, if you don't but it to death, but what about this? What about this? Esther said to us in the beginning, Abraham, it's true. This thing that I know that you don't want me to talk about is a true thing. Don't you think that I should at least acknowledge that it is a true thing? And we said, there are all kinds of things in this world that are true that you want to live. And there are all kinds of things that are true in this world that you don't want to live. We would let whether you want to live them or not be the criteria for whether you give your attention to them. But Abraham, Esther said, it's such a big world and there are so many things out there. Am I supposed to put my head in the sand? We said, yes, and meditate.